All right, guys, what's going on? So I get asked a lot about what does it look like to join the Coach Atallah system. And so I'm going to go over the client foundation. It's the first 90 days. We operate in a 12-week year type model. So we focus on quarters. We focus on 90 days at a time and executing well in those. So I'm going to break this down for you. The goal is for you to understand that when we get to the end of those 90 days, all we're doing is getting you prepared to go into your next 12-week block, your next 12-week year, your next 90 days. So let's start with the first step. Once I've made the decision, I'm ready to invest in myself. The Coach Atallah system sounds right to me. We are going to go through your assessment. So you'll buy the program, you'll download the app, you're going to go through a number of steps to get yourself prepared. And then our assessment takes place. We're going to identify areas of need. We're going to go through the things that are on your heart, on your mind. We're going to get to the root of what's gotten you there, right? Things you've done in the past, things that you have tried on your own, but haven't had success, and really things that just didn't work for you. Programs maybe that you invested in and it just wasn't the right fit. That happens. So we're going to go over that and figure out some of those scars or some of those things that you've done and what we can do to unpack that and make sure that we're in a good mental state to move forward. The next thing we're going to do is get you acclimated with our system. We have an app. I call it our Wellness Navigator app, and you'll go through that. You'll learn more about the ins and outs of it, the communication style, the different pieces of the app that are offered to you, from your training programs to your nutrition tracking, to your direct messaging, to the group and community conversations, to your milestones and everything else in between. There's lots of fun things there. I won't bog you down with that now because you'll find out once you're in the program. We also want to evaluate some of your habits. So in the first 5 to 7 days, while I'll be building on the back end your system using our roadmap and putting that coaching system together for you, you're going to start evaluating and tracking your own habits, and I'm going to do the same. So we're going to look at things that you're doing, from your eating habits, the time of day you're doing that, not just what you're eating, but when you're eating it. Those both matter. Type of training you're doing. Are you morning? Are you evening? Are you afternoon? Are you sporadic? Can you get multiple days in a row? And I'm not looking for you to tell me what you think I want to hear. I'm looking for you to show me what you're doing now so that I can get the best possible layout for you to have success. The final part of our assessment is our dreams evaluation. And this is an awesome thing that we do. My clients love it. It gives us great direction and clarity. We get to ask a lot of questions. We unpack things. And really, I just understand where you are. Dreams stands for desires and the goals that you have. R stands for the realities of your life. E stands for the encouragement you need, because we all need a good pat on the back. A is for accountable action. That's the type of coaching that you receive well and how well I can hold you accountable while still showing you truth and grace in the coaching. We're not going to lead with guilt or with shaming. We're going to lead with truth, and we're going to lead with grace, because that's life. And there's things that come up, and you shouldn't feel guilty about what you're doing. You shouldn't feel guilty about missing. What you should feel is accountable to, how do I replace that? Okay, this has happened. What do I do now? How do I respond to that? That's what we're looking for. So after accountable action, M is for measurement, for management. We want to be able to measure and manage the things that you're doing. And we're trying to figure out what you're good at doing and what you're not good at doing. What do you need help with and support in? What do you need being held accountable to? And then the final thing within the dreams eval is S. That stands for start and stop. Sometimes we got to start things in order to get where we want to go. And how I feel isn't as important as what I want. There's other times where we got to stop things. We got to stop things that are mission killers. We got to stop things that are hurting our performance, that are hurting our advancement, that are hurting ourselves in the house with our family. And so we go over that eval, and it's really a great starting point. That leads into the roadmap. So in those 5 days, I'm also building out your coaching system. We're going to map out your journey of where you want to get to and how we're going to get there. And we're going to talk about that prior to our launch. Roughly a week from the start of you getting into this program, we are going to actually ring the bell, baby. We're going to start this program. We're going to get you launched, and we're going to get you stacking wins. It's important to get momentum early, but it's important to stay consistent over time. And so when we ring the bell, we're committing to the long-term game and the long-term goals that we have. And we're going to do that by stacking small wins over time. We're going to be consistent, because consistency with accountability is going to lead to your overall success and where you want to get to. That new you cannot start without taking a first step. So that's what you're doing here, and that's what we'll continue to doing. And the good part is you have someone with you. You're no longer doing this alone. You're not trying to figure it out alone anymore. You're not trying to go it alone. We're going together, and we're going to go far. After the launch, over the next 45 days in this 90-day launch foundation, you're going to have consistent monitoring, right? We're going to monitor and adjust as we go. So those 45 days, you're going to see monitoring from my end. Some of that you won't even realize I'm doing. I do it on the back end. I do it on my own because our app logs in real time, meaning I get the responses, I get the feedback, I get the notifications. When you hit your protein goal, I get notified. When you hit your workout, I get notified. When you miss a workout, I get notified. So we're constantly working in this system that allows for me to see things happening, whether you know it or not, and for me to step in and encourage, to maybe give you direction, help you keep building a certain habit that you've been struggling with, hitting your training goals, hitting your nutrition goals. All of this is in the monitoring and adjusting phase. And within those 45 days, we've also already had our first coaching call. And we're going to go over some of the things that are going well. We're going to continue to hammer the encouragement and just have that personal connection as a coach and client should. By the 90th day, in that 90-day time frame, we are going to be having our first major call to review, assess, address, refine, and execute moving forward for this next block of 12 weeks. And so when we review, hey, what's gone well? What are the things that are going well for you? What are the things that we need to address or maybe look at and get an assessment on? Hey, what did we say we were going to do and we haven't been able to do? Right? Let's address those things head on. Was that you? Was that me? Let's get to the root of it, not because it's a personal thing or an ego thing, but because we want the results and we got to refine things sometimes. And so that's what we'll go through. And then after we do those 4 parts, the next part is to execute. And that's what makes this cycle really cool, because once you've had your first major payday, when you've seen the results from the work you've put in the system and you're stacking those wins, you're going to want more. But we have to make sure that those 90 days are still in place and that the goals that you want are still the same goals and that we're still on the same trajectory based off of the realities of your life that we've obviously evaluated in that dreams evaluation. So when you get that first major payday, my bet is, and what most of my clients have said is, dude, game on, we're ready to roll. And so what we do is we cycle back to the launch and we relaunch again now with the new game plan, or maybe a modified game plan that was already in place before. Or maybe it's, hey, we're going to continue doing what we're doing because it's working and everything is hitting, and we're just going to continue to monitor and adjust the small tweaks as we go. You got to remember, we're not trying to do an overhaul of your life. That's not this program. What we're trying to do is optimize things by making small adjustments that unlock more for you. And that's our goal. So through this cycle, you can see it's simple, but it's not easy. And it's definitely not easy to do alone. And so in these first 90 days, and then the ones that are happening after that, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and these 12-week year systems that we use, we're constantly going to hit the moving target. We just have to recalibrate. We realign ourselves. We figure out where that new target is and we go attack it. And you don't have to do it alone. So there's no more guesswork. You're not doing it alone. You're now doing it with somebody. I think it's important that we also address a couple other things in the program. So moving on, I'm going to show you guys what some of our clients also are seeing on the back end. So this right here is our landing page and the dashboard for me as your coach on the Wellness Navigator app. And the reason I'm showing you this is so you could see, I see everything that's going on. I have metrics set where I could click in, I could comment, I can see what's going on. So if I want to see what someone did for meals, I can jump in, I can look at those meals right then and there in that day in real time. So we're actually going to jump to one of my clients, Andrew Perkins. Great dude, super committed and consistent. Guy is a high performer. And I love using him as an example. So here's his profile, and then we're going to go to what he sees and what I could see when we're actually attacking his health and wellness and optimizing it. So when Andrew got started back in July of 2024, he was 205 pounds. He didn't like the way he looked. He didn't like the way he felt. He was ready to make changes, and he was ready to do whatever it was. So we implemented the system with his specific goals in mind, and over the course of 6 months, he lost 30 pounds and he dropped down to 175. He leaned out And since then, he started to raise back up towards the 180, 182 mark because he wants to put on really solid, lean muscle. He wants to get stronger. And his numbers have shown. Just today, we were squatting, and he has surpassed his max numbers from when he played football. He has surpassed them now at his age in his early 30s. He's doing more than he's ever done in his squat and his bench. His energy is renewed. It's at an all-time high. He's running around with his kiddos. He's got a third on the way, and he is so excited about what has happened and what he's doing. So I wanted to show you guys this. Here's an idea of what his calendar looks like. So you can see here, we have our workout days. You would click on the workout. You would see his workout. This was the other day, a couple weeks ago, right? An hour workout. He burned 550 calories. His heart rate max was 167. His average was 124. Here was the workout that he did. So for instance, if you were on your workout doing this, you could click on the link, you would see the movement, and then you'd be able to go execute on your own. So there's an identifying video for each one. You can rate your workouts as well, which is really important when we're trying to evaluate the type of strain we want on the body, when we're on a aggressive week of training, when we're on a deload week of training, and everything in between. So on top of workouts, you can see all of his meals that are tracked. So I can go back and look at his Tuesday. He hit all of his goals right on the money. Here was his breakdown of his macros, from protein to his carbs to his fats, and then all the meals that he had. So Perkins is on it, man. He's so solid when it comes to this stuff, and a great example for what clients that buy into the system, what it looks like to have success. So another thing, meal plans. This is a cool one to note. So we have a meal plan program that is generated for you. It's meal ideas that you can do that are within the calorie and macro ranges that you need. And so as you go through this, you can pick out new ideas or new things that you would like to do as a family or for yourself individually. You don't have to do any of these, but if you want to, they're available to you. And if you ever want to change something out, you can. So if you didn't like this meal, you just go to the swap button, and then you could just scroll down until you find something you like. You swap it out, and then you have that new meal in place. And then when you open that and you look at it, it gives you the total prep time. It gives you the total macro breakdown from 47, 34, and 17 from protein, carb, and fat, and the calories. It gives you the whole ingredient list, the directions to do it. Some of them also have prep videos, which is great. And then the coolest feature, I think, on top of that is that you could generate the shopping list for when you go to the store, when you do your orders. So pretty powerful tool there. Moving on from the app, just to give you a quick overview there, moving on from the app, I think the next thing we got to talk about is one of the major pieces of our program. This is one of the major things that we do. We encourage and really push for our clients to get their blood work done. And the reason for that is the car might look good. You might feel like it's running well, but until you get underneath the hood, until you do a diagnostics check, until you know what's going on inside, you really have no idea. So although we can do body comp tests, we can step on the scale for our weight, we can look in the mirror, there are things that are silent going on inside of us. And if you aren't looking into those things, if you aren't doing what you need to check, you might be missing out on an opportune time to get your health optimized and potentially change some things that could be life altering. And I mean from health all the way to longevity. And so, disclaimer, I'm partnered with Function. They have a referral program. Every time I have a client that jumps on here, they have a referral kickback to me. I have no shame in telling that because I would do this program even if they didn't. But when I find out that I could partner with them and offer my clients something at a high level, I knew regardless of what they did that this was it. The user platform and interface is unbelievable. And I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So this is my client, Owen. This is his report right here. And he did his blood work a few weeks ago. His biological age came back. He was really excited about this. He's 1.5 years younger than what his actual age is. That's what his body is telling him because of the health that he has, which is tremendous. What we also said was, man, let's work on getting this even more of a distance gap from what your actual age is. So I thought that was a pretty special thing to see. The great thing about what Function Health does is they give you your in-range and your out-of-range markers. So I'm just going to briefly go over this. When we did our plan and we sat down and talked about the results with Owen, we went through all the biomarkers that were out of range. The biggest one for him was his heart health. So we looked at all of these different panels that came back and what they meant. And so while you have some that might be really high and out of range, You might also have some like LDL versus total cholesterol that are actually not too far off. Okay. Now, here's what I want to say. You have to look at each one individually and understand what that means. Well, Function helps you an in-depth breakdown from clinician notes all the way down with all of these little tabs, why it matters, the summary, causes. Then it goes into foods to eat, foods to limit, supplements to take, as well as self-care, and then sources for you to do your own research on. It's not only about just trusting what they're saying. If you want to take it a step further, you can. And I think that those are the types of things that give you the level of trust that you need, again, that we've lost with our primary care physicians and big pharma and everything else that people are alarmed by. So quick brief, why it matters. You go through that, you can read it. It can give you a quick summary of your overall, what that cholesterol means when it says it's high. It can talk about the causes, right? And things that go into that. Then it gives you some really cool things. Here's foods to eat. Here's foods to eliminate, right? And limit out of your diet. Here's supplements that you can start looking at taking to help with this. And then obviously self-care. This can be anything from removing bad habits, things that we need to start and stop, like we talk about in the Dreams eval. It could also be things like alcohol consumption, or they could tell you to add stuff in, like maybe it's exercise. I'll give you a great example here. Let's go back and let's look at the LDL. So when you look at your LDL and you can go down to self-care, typically it's going to recommend increased exercise, aerobic conditioning. We do that with a lot of my clients that come back with high cholesterol, that come back with hypertension issues. So this is just a great way for you to get in depth on all the biomarkers that are out of range. And then taking it back to that main page, here's a quick summary of like action plan. And guys, being able to be told, here's top 5 things for you to add in that's going to affect most of the biomarkers, not 1 or 2, but it finds the overlap. So it takes the algorithm and it pulls everything together for you to get the best referrals and types of foods or exercise that you need in order to maximize those biomarkers getting back in the range. It also does a alphabetical list of all the other things available to you that are healthy for you and can improve those areas. It also gives you your full limit list, right? So in this case, Owen has a ton of internal inflammation. Well, a lot of that's caused by seed oils, right? So if you're eating a lot of things that are processed or used with seed oils, whether they're cooked in it, whether they're in that in the ingredient list, that's why these are at the top 5. And then here's the supplement list. Those were the top 5 recommended for Owen. We actually put a stack together for him, which I'm going to jump to next and tell you about. But these are other things that you can take that are also known to help from a supplementation list. So moving on, now that we've talked about supplements after doing the blood panel, right? This is how we get a better direction for where we want to go. If we want to go and get a best supplement stack, hey, Adam, what do I take? Coach, I don't know what supplements to take. What do you recommend? Well, I'm going to always start with, what does the blood work say? What do your panels say? What are you deficient in? What things are showing up in your biomarkers that need lowering? And then we go from there. But man, our guys have ordered a lot of things over the course of their time in this program because they want to get optimal results. And so you'll see right here, we have tons of orders from guys getting the things they need, from, bone support to your basic creatine stack to your omega-3s and everything else in between, depending on what is right for you. Guys, THORNE is an incredible part to have. They have been amazing to me as a coach and just as a person who takes the supplements. They've been amazing for my clientele base, and every single one of my clients gets a discount by being in the Coach Atallah program, as I'm partnered with THORNE, and not be more happy with them. They push science-backed research for their supplements. They're not just trying to throw stuff together and then slap you with marketing tactics. They're using real-world science and data with high-level supplements and ingredients to give you what you need. Let's come back to the overview, because I think when you look at what we're trying to do and when you look at what our clients have been able to accomplish, it isn't because of some elaborate thing. This is actually quite a simple system, but it's not easy to do. And it's not easy to do alone. And I cannot reiterate that enough, that you are no longer alone when you're in the Coach Atallah program. You get to work with somebody and another group of high-performing people that are all looking for the same thing: health and wellness optimization, so they can be at their best for all the things that matter most in their lives. If that's you, if this resonates with you, then I want to talk to you and I want to work with you. If this is something you're not sure about, if this is something that I don't know that I agree with that, that's fine. No problem. Just keep moving on, because this system will not work for you. It is going to take someone who has discipline, who has conviction, who wants help to be held accountable and to work alongside with other people towards goals that make them raise up and be elite in what they do. Because that's what high performers are. They're people that don't settle, that always want to go for more. So that's you. Let's work together. I love to talk to you again. Let's continue to show up. Let's continue to be there for the things that matter most. Here's to your health. And for goodness sake, ring the bell. Peace.